You've heard the news. Copywriting is dead. AI has taken over, and if you made your living writing words, then the glory days are done. With copywriters worldwide now all suddenly changing their bios to position themselves as AI experts, marketing strategists, or full-stack marketers, whatever that even means, it would be easy to think that there's no point whatsoever learning copywriting or trying to forge a career as a copywriter in 2025. But that wouldn't be entirely true. While the industry has definitely shifted, it's far from dead. The copywriters I'm coaching right now are still happily pulling in 10, 15, even 20 grand plus per month. They're working with better clients with bigger budgets. And rather than being decimated by AI, they're working with AI to get work done quicker, hone their skills, and ultimately go even deeper into crafting high converting copy that clients pay them handsomely for. Being totally honest, this isn't the reality for every copywriter. Some are definitely struggling. If your target client was, say, a one-person business doing between 5k and 15k per month, and they're paying you 10 to 20% of that for copywriting, then yeah, I'm gonna guess you've lost a fair bit of business recently. For these guys, it's simpler and a whole lot cheaper to get AI to write their emails, their captions, and their scripts. And while you and I might know that AI copy with low-level input isn't going to be effective, for these prospects, it just isn't worth the effort trying to explain that. So if you were targeting these kinds of clients, then yeah, you're gonna have a tough time. But if you change your ICP or ideal client persona, if you readjust your positioning, and if you look at how you're finding, signing, and delivering to clients, there's still plenty of work out there. But to help you make an even better decision about whether or not to pursue a copywriting career in the age of AI, I want to run you through 7 reasons why you absolutely should follow your writing dreams and just do it, and also 5 reasons why you might want to pull back and consider a different approach. So the first reason why you should probably go for this is the money. Now, it's cliche to say, but there is great money in copywriting. Obviously, the fees you charge are dependent on your level of expertise, the clients you're going after, and all that kind of stuff. But honestly, if you're a semi-competent copywriter, you shouldn't really be earning much less than about £100 or $100 an hour. I wouldn't necessarily recommend giving prices to clients per hour, but that's kind of what it should work out at. Most of the people I'm working with still have minimum retainers of about 2 to 3k per month. Some are up at like the 5 to 6k mark, and some even on the 10 to 12k mark. So for me, money-wise, yeah, you're not gonna be a billionaire writing copy, but you can hit 6 or even multi-6 figures fairly easily with just a handful of clients. Secondly, is that when you have those type of clients, they actually pay you really well, they treat you well, and they're good fun to work with. So what I found with this shift in AI is certainly the lower level clients, they're taking copy in-house, so they're doing it themselves. Whereas the bigger clients, they're looking for even more input from people with more expertise and more skills. So for me, that means I've been getting much more involved in projects with my clients. Before, it might have just been writing emails, it might have been writing sales pages, writing captions. Now they're asking for strategic input, they're asking for looking at funnels, and I'm really getting to kind of show them some cool behavioral psychology stuff that makes the work a lot more interesting. Reason number 3 is that there is tons of freedom. So if you know me, you know I'm massive on travel. I like to go abroad at least every couple of months, just because I think, well, if you've got that freedom, why would you not do that? Outside of maybe the odd Zoom call or, you know, having to deliver to a deadline, you really can work from wherever you want and do it whenever you want. So for you, that might just mean freedom to work from the local coffee shop, to work from a nice hotel bar down the road, but it could also mean freedom to work from the beach in Bali, you know, a co-working space in Barcelona, or even trekking across America or Canada in an RV. Reason number 4 piggybacks off that last one, and it's the fact that you can have very few calls. This isn't the case for every single copywriter, and how many calls you do every week will depend on what limits you put in for that. But I personally won't do more than 5 hours of calls per week, and actually most weeks it's more like 2 to 3. I've done more than that in the past, and I just found the work a bit draining. I didn't enjoy things as much. So these days I've put in mechanisms that mean I don't have to be on and off calls with clients the whole time. Number 5 is that copywriting is a highly transferable skill. This is one thing that I'm really big on, and I think not enough people talk about. But copywriting isn't just writing words onto a page. If you want to be a good copywriter and get paid well, you need to understand strategy, you need to understand kind of business structure, you need to know about positioning, about persuasion, and kind of just understand what makes people tick. Now, whether or not you want to stay in copywriting once you've learned that, or whether you want to launch other businesses on the side is entirely up to you. But the one reason why I have so much confidence as a copywriter is I know that if I got rid of all my copywriting clients tomorrow, it really wouldn't be that hard to start pretty much any other business in any other niche. I would have the skills and I would have the knowledge to be able to look at an offer, to look at a target market and think, right, what can I do with existing products or with new products to go in there completely cold and to do pretty well. Number 6 is the potential for equity. So equity is when you earn a percentage of the sales your copy generates, as well as an upfront fee. That really is like the icing on the cake for copywriters, because if you can earn well for an upfront fee and you can charge for equity on top, that just makes every deal much more lucrative, much more profitable. Now, equity doesn't necessarily suit every single deal or every single client or even every single copywriter, but if you could have even 1 or 2 equity deals that pay you for like 6 months, 12 months, even a couple of years, then honestly, that just makes your work so much easier, and it means you've got income coming in whether you work or not. And finally, reason number 7 is that it's exciting. You've got so much scope to work with offers that excite you, to work with clients you like, and to do work that challenges you in a good way with copywriting. I can't remember the last time I had a project that I wasn't at least a bit excited to work on, and that's really key. Again, it's not the whole like, if you love what you do, you never work a day in your life. There are still days when I get up and think, oh, I need to hit the laptop today. But honestly, I would say that 90% of the time, probably even 95% of the time, I wake up looking forward to my work because it's exciting. Whether that's exciting for the niche you're writing about, the clients you're working with, or you're just working on something where you're having to overcome obstacles to create a really cool end result. To me, when you've got that in your work, you've got fulfillment, it's very difficult to get burnt out by that. Like I said though, it's not all sunshine and roses, and I always like to put across both sides of the story. So let's talk about the cons. First of all, the elephant in the room is that AI has created a lower perception of copywriters. Copywriters used to be seen more so as experts, as people with a specialist skill set. Now we can kind of be seen as commodities. There are a few ways around that, whether it's kind of what you call yourself, whether it's how you position yourself, or just building up a big reputation. But there's no doubt about it, at the moment you are kind of having to swim against the tide a bit. My honest opinion is that in a year, when people have realized that actually AI is great for some things, but it's really not great as a generative tool for copy and for content, we will see that pendulum swing back. But at the time of recording this video, you do have to do a bit more work to get yourself to be perceived as someone of value. The second reason why you might not consider a career in copywriting is the competition. Like anything, there are 2 sides to this. One is that I hear copywriters say to me, oh, I got started in copy and now there's other copywriters everywhere. Well, a lot of that is just because you're moving in a new circle and you're seeing different types of content. So there probably aren't any more copywriters than before. It just seems that way. However, what I would say is over the last few years, as with anything in the biz op space, which is a term I don't love, but we'll use it for this anyway, people see an opportunity and they get into it, whether that's like Amazon selling, whether it's drop shipping, whether it's running Facebook ads, all that kind of stuff. Copywriting is kind of the same. Maybe like 7 or 8 years ago, there weren't that many people doing it. Nowadays, people can see it as like an easy route to quick riches, and they've hopped on board that. As I always say, if you play the long game, your skill, your determination, your consistency will win out. But if you're just getting into it, it can be a bit overwhelming because all of a sudden you think, everyone's a copywriter, how am I going to get clients? Number 3 is that you might need to learn new skills. Honestly, for me, that should actually be a pro, but I understand not everyone wants to learn new skills. Unfortunately, copywriting isn't as simple as just clicking buttons or inputting a formula and you get a great result. Even with AI, you need to understand human emotion, you need to understand positioning, persuasion, marketing psychology, all that kind of stuff. You can't just rely on AI to do the work for you. That means you're going to need to read great copy. You're going to need to consume it, to study it, to start writing. Also, you're going to need to be willing to have some setbacks along the way. A lot of people aren't cut out for that. They just want it to be easy, and unfortunately it isn't. I'll always tell people you can have a great copywriting career and it can be simple, but it's not going to be easy. You need to be prepared to learn new skills. 4th, I'm seeing more businesses want people to go in-house due to the speed of work being done. One thing AI has done is really speed up how quickly companies can get out things like ads and new marketing campaigns. Because of that, work that before they could maybe deal with being done in like 3, 4 or 5 days, they now often want done on the same day. Now, you might be able to do that as a remote copywriter, working freelance, working from anywhere in the world. But a lot of companies are trying to bring people in-house just because it's easier communication. There's no delay on waiting for people to respond to emails. They don't have to wait for the next day to have a call. They want people who are doing set hours, normally like your typical 9 to 5, and they want to be working solely for them so that when they're called on, they can get to work straight away, rather than a freelancer who might be juggling 4, 5, 6 different clients who might not be able to start up for a week, let's say. And number 5, you need to be constantly prospecting. Even if you have work coming out of your ears, it is a very good idea to constantly be seeking clients. Now, you don't have to sign those clients, But the last thing you want is for a couple of people to leave you just because they've got budgetary issues, you finished working on some projects with them, maybe they want to bring the team in-house, anything like that, and for you to be left scratching around for clients. That's stressful, it can contribute to burnout, and it ultimately makes your business a lot less fun. So what I'd say is, even if you're fully booked, even if you're outsourcing work to other writers, even if you've booked yourself a mini agency, spend at least like 15 to 20 minutes a day prospecting, building relationships, commenting on people's stuff, sending emails, just really build that network. It might not pay you immediately, but it'll always pay you long term. The reason why it's a con is because a lot of people don't want to do that. They just want to open up their laptop, write some words, get paid, that's it. Unfortunately, as with any business, there's background work that needs to be done, and prospecting is one of those tasks. So there we go, guys. 7 reasons why you should launch or grow your copywriting career, and 5 reasons why you shouldn't. You can probably guess which side of the fence I'm on this and which way I think you should go. But ultimately, that decision is up to you. If you enjoy writing, if you're seeking a business or a career that gives you freedom like no other, and if you want a skill that commands hundreds or potentially even thousands of pounds or dollars per hour, I really don't think there are many other better options out there. So if you're looking to get started, then you should definitely check out the resources linked in the description of this video. You'll be able to grab my free copywriting templates, a free workshop that shows you where to find high-paying clients and how to sign them, and there's also a link to my flagship course, the Freedom Kickstarter. So check those out, and if you have any questions, feel free to drop me a message.